Senate spokesperson for Ahmed Lawa APC group for the office of the Senate President, Sabi Abdullahi, said no APC senator will work against the choice of Ahmed Lawa as Senate President for the ninth Senate. Speaking in Abuja, Senator Sabi Abdullahi said the party has learned its lesson from 2015 mistakes and cannot this time around fail to support the legislative framework that will help the executive to attain change that Nigerians are yearning for. He said that the APC Senate caucus is enjoying goodwill of the people, with emphasis that a good number of opposition indicated interest to support the choice of Senator Ahmed Lawa for the candidature for the office of the Senate President.
The whole idea was they've done their own consultation and mobilization. They've looked at all of these issues. And the entire National Working Committee were there with Mr. President sitting. And he said, we're appealing to you so that we'll be able to get it right. We'll avoid the mistake of 2015 so that we can have unity and direction. And on that note, we are recommending to you the Senate leader so that you elevate him to become your Senate President. And I think the way somebody will speak to you speaks volume. And to my mind, it was dignifying and respectful. So, and immediately he said so, there was what is called instantaneous, spontaneous applause by all the senators that were there. And when I say all, I'm talking about it in terms of percentage, who are in the majority. Because in a place, as we are seated here, if 2 people clap, you know. But when 17 people here clap, even if 1 person does not clap, you won't even know that he didn't clap. Is that not? Because the majority are having their way, and you will feel it. So for me, it was a spontaneous, and it was an applause that shows acceptability by majority. I won't use the word all. By majority of the senators that were here. So for someone to say that there was shock, I think that person is being too economical with the truth. There was no shock. Rather, there was even relief.
Sabi added that having learned from last experience, President Buhari and APC as the ruling party cannot fail to give members direction to follow in the ninth assembly.
So let me tell you very clearly that those of our colleagues who are in PDP, we have been engaging them, and I will tell you that majority of them are actually working for us to see that we have a harmonious, rancor-free, non-tumultuous Senate. And I think they are right to do so, because they are mandated by their people to come and represent them and to take dividends of democracy home, not to take victories or fight on the floor home, because nobody will take the victory or fight on the floor as a dividend. If we fight on the floor and you claim you are the winner and they are showing you on videos and whatnot, will that one translate into the good road that your people want to see, the water your people want to see, the light your people want to see, the good schools your people want to see, the health facilities your people want to see? No. But when you work together with those who are in government, because the government that is going to be formed is the APC government. The chief executives and whatever will be running the policy of APC government. And you as a parliamentarian or as a legislator, a senator representing a particular district, you want your people to benefit from that program. So what's the need of fighting? So I want to tell you, our colleagues are not, even the PDP, they are not interested in any fight.
Speaking on former Abia State Governor Ojuzo Kalu interview which he granted in Lagos, where he threatened to contest openly on the floor of the Senate as candidate of the office of Deputy Senate President, is not zoned to the southeast. Abdullahi maintained that all zones of the Federation will get slot in the chair of presiding and principal officers of the Assembly. He noted that only office of the Senate President have been zoned to northeast.
But one thing I know for sure is that there are certain truths that we all know. the party is responsible for zoning. And the only thing I can say now is that the Senate President, by what the party has requested or has zoned the Senate, the party has zoned the Senate presidency Northeast. So, what is the next line of action for the DSP? I have no idea. But one thing I know for sure is that as a majority party, with 2 presiding officers, 4 principal officers, that is 6. Each geopolitical zone must go home with one thing. What it will be, how it will come, I think is the prerogative of the party, and I know the party is sensitive, is wise, is learned enough to do the right thing. And when they do the right thing, as loyal party men, we are queuing behind them, absolutely. And I want to assure you, there will be no dissent. When you dissent, it will be like the fly that wants to follow a corpse into the grave. That's the case that you see. You know, it becomes only one. Because if the others have come together, he won't be one. So
It will recall that the Constitution provides for 2 offices or presiding officers of the lower and upper chambers of the National Assembly. One of the contenders for the office of the Senate President in the forthcoming night Senate, Ali Ndume, has expressed disappointment over the endorsement of Ahmed Lawan by the APC leadership for the office of the Senate President. Speaking with journalists in Abuja, Ali Ndume faulted the stand of the party's chairman, Adams Oshiomhole. Ali Ndume accused Oshiomhole of high-handedly annoyed Lawan at the choice of the ruling party.
The Senate should be what it is supposed to be. It is supposed to be an institution that clearly by the Constitution is supposed to be independent. And what I feel pained most about is that even in primary school or in your own locality or in your own small community, you don't impose a leader on even the children around your compound. They normally have a natural way of saying that this is our captain or this is supposed to be our leader. It normally doesn't hold if you just say that this is your leader. In fact, in the traditional institution where kings, emirs, and chiefs are not appointed, they are elected. If you are a prince, that doesn't guarantee that you will be the king. They are what they call the kingmakers. And the kingmakers in this our case is supposed to be the senators. So now, who owns the loyalty of the beneficiary? Is it the senators, or is it the party, or is it Adam Oshiomhole? I say that what Adam Oshiomhole, because it was him that said that, just threw it to us, that Ahmed Lawan should be our next Senate President. I don't believe that that is truly the position of Mr. President. Because, let me add that before I went into this contest, I consulted with Mr. President and he gave me the go-ahead. I consulted with Tinubu, he gave me the go-ahead. That was even immediately after the primaries, before my election.
He said the instance where an individual was imposed on the Senate will end in crisis.
It says that the Senate shall elect its the Senate President and the Deputy. So, and as I told you, my decision to contest for the position of the Senate President is not very personal, as so to say. My colleagues, even my colleagues, encourage me. Not only the re-elected ones, but even my former colleagues that we interacted, or we had a relationship throughout my sojourn in the National Assembly, said that we should vie for that position. An election is here to be held, and the party even did not say that they have elected Amela. No, they have nominated Amela, because the election of the leadership of the National Assembly is clearly stated in the Constitution. Anything contrary to that means that it is illegal, it cannot stand. So as I said, we wait for what God will do.
On whether he intends to challenge the decision of his party, the Borno lawmaker stated that he will first consult with his constituency, then leave the final decision for his colleagues in the Senate.
And this country needs a Senate that belongs to Nigerians, that the Nigerians will give us a signal or an indication of who they want amongst you when the party does what aids what is in the Constitution, because zoning is not in the Constitution, but the purpose of zoning is to enhance what the Constitution says, that there should be equity, justice in whatever the government does. So that's why the party will now say, since the president has come from Northwest, the vice president comes from Southwest, now the Senate president should come from Northeast. And so also are other geopolitical zones. And that is where it's supposed to stop. And we are supposed to be given the honor to say, okay, we have zoned this position to your Northeast. You senators from Northeast, go and get a leader. Go and choose one of you, and then in consultation with others. Or, at best, in this case, like I wrote to the party that I intend to contest for that position. I think I deserve that honor to be invited to say, look, Lumi, we don't want you to contest for this position for so reasons. And we want you to support so person. I was not given that honor.
He also noted that all the top contenders for the position were not consulted before the decision to adopt Ahmed Lawa.
Federal government has reopened negotiations with members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities after talks had broke down, leading to the union embarking on 3-month-old strike. It will be recorded that the 3-month-old strike, which commenced on Sunday, 4th November 2018, was suspended on 8th February 2019 following a memorandum of understanding that was signed by both parties. Federal government team led by Professor Wale Babalakin, who briefed newsmen after a long hours meeting, said they had positive discussions and are on good paths for finalizing the negotiations.
We resumed our negotiations today. The government team and the academic staff of universities were appropriately represented. And we had very positive discussion, and we actually hope that we're on a good path for finalizing the negotiation. Very healthy discussions on topical issues, and both sides made extensive contributions for the benefit of the university system. You see, in a negotiation, you have to seek the consent of the other party before you make such disclosures. But at the stage of signing an agreement, we'll be willing to tell you all the headlines and all the important issues.
He noted that ASU submitted a timetable with over 20 issues and would be discussed, adding that the memorandum that was signed between federal government and ASU was part of the document submitted by ASU for deliberation.
You see, it's the same negotiation. We had an interlude, and that interlude is over. And we're now back to where we left it at the time we had the interlude. So it's a continuous negotiation for the betterment of the educational system.
Is it from
today? If I can speak broadly, there are over 20 issues in that timetable. So it's not a singular issue. There are many issues to be discussed, and they will all be discussed.
ASU President Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, who led the union negotiation team, however, declined comment with the media. In Abuja, LM Chukwemeka reports.
The Senate Committee on Land Transportation has given assurance that it will thoroughly interrogate proposal to be covered by the 2019 budget of over 213 billion naira allocated to Ministry of Transport. Chairman of Senate Committee on Land Transport, Senator Gbenga Ashafa, who spoke at the budget defense of the ministry, has therefore called for the breakdown of the fund allocated for specific project of the ministry.
While the allocation to the main ministry in this budget is in the sum of 134,279,639,474 naira. In consonance with the federal government's focus on funding the ongoing rail construction across the country, the sum of 80,217,035,252 naira was allocated as counterpart funding. However, in other work, in accordance with the public accountability, the ministry is hereby requested to further break down the total counterpart funding by allocating specific amounts to each of the listed projects.
In his presentation, Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amechi, highlighted the success achieved so far in Nigerian railway landscape.
I must report the happiness of the ministry and Nigerians in the progress being made in the Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge. Let me, Chairman, extend an invitation to you for Friday, if you're free, to join us on an inspection of the railway from Lagos to Ibadan, actually. And I will tell you why I hesitated the first time. Because we'll start from Ebute Meta and we'll go by narrow gauge. And when we get to Iju, we'll come down at Iju and board the standard gauge. The standard gauge will take us slightly out of Abeokuta, and then we'll step down into our car and conclude the inspection by road. So that what they are constructing, they should get to kilometer 95. That's where we're going, because I told them they must get to kilometer 95 by 28. And then there's a bridge at kilometer 98, which if they don't complete, they cannot cross over to lay the track. If they complete the bridge at kilometer 98, it will be easy to continue laying, because you have only about 2 or 3 outstanding bridges, which is actually quite close to Ibadan. They have promised that by May latest, they should conclude completely the laying of tracks up to Ibadan. But I want them to complete before May. I thought we should be able to complete in April. That would be laying of tracks, not the completion of the railway, because you still have stations and communication. But if the complete laying of tracks, we should be able to allow commercial activities, commercial rail to run from Lagos to Ibadan. For some months, we'll do it free of charge, while we may consider collecting money from them as we progress. We will not launch or commission it until they have finished the stations and the communication. At that point, we'll be inviting Mr. President.
The total budget of the Ministry of Transport is 213.4 billion naira. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has suspended the issuance of certificate of return to the winners of the March 9 governorship and House of Assembly election in Zamfara State. This was disclosed in a notice on INEC Twitter handle posted. The commission said the suspension was in obedience to the Monday judgment of the Court of Appeal in Sokoto, which set aside the judgment of Zamfara High Court that allowed APC to field candidate for the March 9 election in Zamfara State. INEC have been served with the judgment of the Appeal Court Sokoto concerning the sponsoring of the candidate by the APC in Zamfara and is studying the same. Consequently, presentation of the certificate of return for the Zamfara governorship and State House of Assembly scheduled for Wednesday have been suspended, the statement read. INEC had earlier said APC will not contest in the state election, but a Zamfara State High Court directed INEC to accept the APC candidate just few days to the election. However, the Appeal Court sitting in Sokoto on Monday said Zamfara State High Court failed to evaluate wholly all the evidence presented before giving its verdict on the APC primary in the state. Presiding Judge of Appeal Court Justice Shuaibu Yakubu, delivering unanimous judgment, said all evidence placed before the court has shown that APC and other respondents did not conduct primary election.